So today I'm answering the question, how do I find a bookkeeper who I can trust, and what are the criteria? What am I looking for in terms of getting a trustworthy bookkeeper? And what happens is people get a bit worried about, is my bookkeeper going to scam me? Is my bookkeeper going to steal $100,000 from my account? There's some things you need to understand about how a bookkeeper actually works so that you don't fear that unnecessarily. Because a bookkeeper doesn't have access to your account. In fact, I'll just see if I've got something here that's useful for you. A bookkeeper doesn't even have access to your account, because what they do is, it's like someone who's a boxer. There's a person who's boxing, and then there's that person's shadow against the wall. The person who's boxing can hit you in the face. Their shadow can't hit you. And in the same way, your bookkeeping is like the shadow of what your bank is doing. Okay, the bookkeeping, it records what you're doing, but your bookkeeper doesn't generally have access to your bank unless you give them access to the bank. So if you're worried and you're just dipping your toe in the water, understandable. Especially, so a lot of the guys who I work with in trades, they've got 50 or 100 or 200k sitting in the bank. They're like, what happens if that disappears? Because that's their next BAS and that's their next, pay runs or whatever. You don't want to give away your bank account, but you don't have to, because a bookkeeper, remember, the bookkeeper's not the boxer. The bookkeeper is the shadow behind the boxer. Okay, it just records what the boxer is doing, if that's a bit of an analogy. And then, so what are you looking for in a bookkeeper you can trust? Well, first of all, you can usually tell if a bookkeeper's decent or not on the phone. Firstly, do they get back to you quickly? And when they talk to you on the phone, are they all about them or are they all about you? Okay, so when I talk to someone who's needing a hand, I'm usually asking questions like, okay, so what do you need? Where's all your time going? Is your time going to invoicing? Is your time going into trying to keep track of receipts? Is your time going to trying to do the intricate stuff like bank reconciliations and stuff that you should never have been touching? That should not have been your problem. Like, where's your time going? And also, where's your time going where's your time that it should be going to? Like, if you're sitting there at night typing rubbish into your Xero accounting instead of being out there quoting on jobs, we've got a problem there. So it's like, well, how much time do you need to save? Your accountant, how proactive is your accountant? Are they super proactive? Are they happy to help? Or are they the sort of person you go to once a year and you sort of don't even quite feel welcome when you go? Okay, because what type of accountant you've chosen probably determines what type of bookkeeping you need. And so we'll look at that. I guess what I'm saying is that conversation is all about you as a client and what you need, not about, oh, here's how rules and here's how you do it, and also you don't want to be talking to a bookkeeper who's going off on weird tangents about, oh, this is the bank reconciliation and this is the profit and loss report, and going into details, and you don't even understand what they're talking about. Okay, are they a good fit? Do you trust them? Another thing is, like, what promises have they made? Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen here, and actually I'm already sharing my screen. It's like, these are the promises that Joel and I make when we work for someone, and things like, is your bookkeeper going to tell you the truth? Now, quite frankly, Joel and I are going to tell you the truth even if it's not good news, because we'd rather, if there's a problem, bring the problem to you and sort it there and then than have you discover a problem, or your accountant discover a problem in 6 months and then have to go back and do a heap of cleanup work. That's stupid and it's costly and it's not what we're about. So is your bookkeeper going to tell you the truth? Another one is, are they going to be quick to communicate? Because if a bookkeeper doesn't communicate quickly, what the heck is the point of having them? There's some things that don't matter. It can wait a week or whatever, it doesn't matter. But there's a lot of things like your invoicing or your overdues. You got a question today, you need an answer ASAP, because you got to go and deal with those problems as a business owner. What else? Oh, I see this a lot. People who are bookkeepers who will put you on an expensive plan, but then only once a month or once a fortnight actually go and deal with your books for you. Well, what that means is you don't have up-to-date info to make choices. So you need your bookkeeping to be done regularly, up to date, bare minimum weekly, bare minimum. Otherwise, you can't make decisions based on 2 weeks ago data. Okay, that's silly. Also, is your bookkeeper going to show you how to unlock things within Xero and how to get information when you need it? Because there's so many easy reports. It's like, whoa, are we going to take on another staff member? Well, let's go and look at this report. This report shows you what your revenue is likely to be and what it was this time last year. That sort of stuff. It's like, that stuff's in there. So as a bookkeeper, I want you to know how to access that. I know that generally you don't want to, you just want me to do it for you, and I'm happy to, but you having that information is great. When it's midnight, you're trying to work out what you're going to do, you just click a few buttons. So you want someone who's going to teach you how to use Xero as well, not just do it for you. What else? You want a bookkeeper who, if they stuff things up, they'll let you know. Okay, because bookkeepers do make errors, but remember, it's like the boxing, the boxer and the shadow. if you make an error on the shadow, it doesn't matter, because in real life, you know, it's not the boxer, it's just the shadow. You can fix it. You can fix most things, unless you've left it 5 years. You can fix most things pretty easily within the books if you know what you're doing. But you want a bookkeeper who's going to let you know if there's been issues, what they are, and how to solve them. And if they stuff up, you want someone who owns it. I don't care if someone stuffs up, if they're working for me. I mean, like, or if I'm working for them even, I don't care. As long as they just tell the truth, we can fix it. And then, oh, this one is a good one. If we say we'll do it, it'll be done. Okay? Like, hold us to it. I dare you to find somewhere where that's not true of us, because it's who we are at our core. Okay? And then is your bookkeeper going to charge fairly? And then when I say fairly, there's two ways that bookkeepers stuff up their charging. One is they overcharge. It's like, oh, that took me 10 hours. Like, how the hell did that take you 10 hours? You know, that's ridiculous. That did not take you 10 hours. That's one way they can charge unfairly. But another way is when you've got younger bookkeepers or new bookkeepers, very nervousy sort of people sometimes. Like, bookkeepers are not always known for being the life of the party, let's be honest. So sometimes they'll undercharge. They'll say, oh, I'm charging you for 3 hours, but really it took them 6 hours to do the work. Now, that's generous of them and nice of them, and they're probably not going to last long in the industry, but whatevs. The issue is now you've got an expectation that sort of work will always take 3 hours when really it takes 6. So when they actually start charging appropriately and they get back their courage to actually charge what they should be charging, you're not going to trust them. So it's a conversation worth having with them as well. So those are the sort of things that you want to look for in a bookkeeper. I don't mind whether you choose us or someone else, quite frankly. But if you're going to choose a bookkeeper, choose one who has these sort of values or values that are similar to that. It's particularly important that they communicate. I mean, don't ask me why. It's like a librarian who doesn't deal with books. You know, a bookkeeper who doesn't communicate makes no sense to me. But long story short, when it comes to the trustworthiness of a bookkeeper, don't choose dodgy brothers, but at the same time, don't live in fear of, you know, choosing the wrong person, because at the end of the day, it's pretty straightforward work. It's not like it's rocket science. You just want someone reliable, dependable, honest, someone who's going to help you out when you're stuck, someone who's going to be real with you when things are not on track. Okay? If we can be helpful as well, get in touch. You can see our website up there, actualbookkeeping.com.au, if you just want someone to have a look. And if you want us to have a look and let you know if your other bookkeeper's doing a good job, we can do that. And usually they will be. Okay? But if they're not, we'll tell you. All right, you have a good one. Keep being proactive and get those bookkeeping tasks off your wife, off yourself, and onto someone else.